Hello there, dear readers, watchers, and listeners. I'm looking a bit like Gandalf. You should know me by now. My name's Samuel J. White on the front of my books. It's Sam J. White on Facebook. That may change so that it can go in line with my books. I've been doing these interviews for a while, and one of the people who I've done several reviews for, and it's now two interviews for, is author Jason Blayne from America. And you might have watched the first part of his interview. Not many people did, but hopefully more people will. And this is an unedited version, of course, because it took forever. There will be an edited version at some point. We're going to go ahead with part two now. Take it away. Tell us about your current work in progress.
So actually, I'm working on two at once. So I'm working on the next installment of the JVOU, which they do follow back to back. Modern Day Outlaws, which is, to put it in a nutshell, it is a modern day Bonnie and Clyde meets Robin Hood. The world economy tanks. So, there's another huge depression. These two former federal agents take it upon themselves to start taking back from the uber rich who just keep robbing and taking from those who are hurting and give back. And they end up getting caught. And I'm not going to say how the ending goes because then no one will want to read it. And then the other is the sequel to the book that was just picked up by Archway Publishing. So Escaping River Creek has the sequel, Forever River Creek, that I'm working on at the same time, which is a continuation of Corey and Tara's story. So, and it's going to be touched upon a lot of things that a lot of authors haven't touched on is post-war PTSD. The struggles, the hardships, how difficult it can be for some of the men and women coming home, and just some things you can leave behind and some things you can't.
Yeah.
So, and it's, it's going to go back to that lovey-dovey kind of romance that River Creek is, and that has that magic, but it's going to be hard to top Escaping River Creek, because I'm telling you, everybody at Archway Publishing who has had their hands on this book absolutely loves it. So that means Forever River Creek, bars here, bars going to go way up here out of the spectrum. I mean, I've got to knock it out.
Yeah, PTSD is that's a difficult subject to deal with, because a lot of people associate it with like wars and stuff like that, people coming home from wars, whereas a lot of people don't know you can get PTSD without ever having been to a war zone.
Actually, my mother suffered from it with all the years from abuse she had from my dad, because they were in a very toxic and abusive relationship to each other for a long time. I mean, I know it's kind of putting some personal out there, but I mean, I've got my own scars from, when they were going at it and stuff. I mean, my parents never with me, but the crossfire,
Yeah, I totally get that. This is partly what my wife suffers with. Her dad was very abusive, and he used to threaten her mum with a gun and stuff like that. So people don't always understand that. They say to her, "How could you have PTSD? You haven't been to a war." So,
it comes in many, many forms, my friend. It comes in so many forms.
Yeah.
So
so that would been a Robin Hood story as well. Robin Hood was Nottingham. That's only about 200 miles from where I am, or not quite 200.
Cool.
It's an interesting story, because you imagine Nottingham being like it is in all the movies and stuff like that, with all trees around it and stuff like that. It's not like that at all. But that's how it would have been back in the day. But some of the history, I was always interested in the history of Robin Hood when I was a kid, because we studied him at school, and but they don't, we'll never know really whether he existed or not. But a lot of what we know now of Robin Hood was actually made up in Victorian times, and it was actually made up several hundred years after he existed. So
go figure.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a timeless character, though, and I mean that is an admirable goal for any writer, is to create a character that just transcends time.
Yeah.
If not just Robin Hood, but you think of Romeo and Juliet. Think of Hamlet. just think of, like Blackbeard the pirate. I mean, I know there was a Blackbeard and stuff, but I mean, think of all these
Yeah.
characters. Peter Pan, that's transcended time. Captain Hook. I mean, who in the world wouldn't recognize those names?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, is to make a character like that.
That's the goal of every writer, to create that one character that transcends time.
Yeah, I don't think any of mine are going to do that currently, but yeah.
It's tough. It is so tough.
I think I think a lot of my characters are unique, but I don't know if I would get enough readers for them to like pick them up and go, oh, that character continues on throughout time. I don't know, but that's another thing with character creation. Do they sometimes like talk to you in your head?
Right?
Do the characters talk? Do they talk to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they have to. I mean, you're telling their story. You're just the vessel to put, as they say, pen to paper or keys to whatever document you're using, whether it's Apple or Windows platform. But I mean, you are the vessel that brings these characters to life. So yes, if your character's not talking to you, then there's something wrong. I mean, it may not be the process for everybody else, but you have to be an extension of that character. You have to be in the moment. You have to be feeling what they're feeling, thinking what they're thinking, and going along with what they're doing.
Yeah, I have sometimes some of the characters from my books talk to me in my head, and they have opinions on things. And it's like, I can't remember, something happened, and I could hear the character of Katzina in my head. She's the foreign lady from Midwinter Night's Dream, and she was talking in my head. She's going, that is not fair. You tell that person, shut up.
That's like Allie. I mean, you've seen how many bad decisions she made and just kept making them and making them. And I knew people like that. Like everybody's, 45 days to some readers was so real they refused to do a review on it.
Yeah, it is. She definitely came across as being real to me.
And just, Aiden, I knew someone who had lost everything. Actually, he lost everybody in his family, and he was the sole survivor. So, I mean, I kind of changed that a little bit. And, I mean, he was left a good inheritance. He did have a really good job, and just, he was just a really nice guy. And I'm like, well, it's like, he didn't play, the real life inspiration for him didn't play out the way that it did in that book. But, it's again, one of those rabbit hole things of what can I do to these characters to really pull out the drama? How can I make this romance not everyday lovey-dovey? How can I make this feel real and just slap reality in the face while still being fictional?
Yeah,
that book.
It's good getting it out of the everyday thing. This is again what I tried to do with the Midwinter Night's Dream, because that they do have these completely lovey-dovey bits, but then you go back to the fact that they don't even know each other.
Yeah. That's like, that one review you mentioned in the video, how the lady didn't understand where the 45 days comes from. Well, I mean, you get built up to the beginning of the 45 days. Because if you look at January 1st to Valentine's Day, it's exactly 45 days. And that's exactly where the title came from. You have 45 days where everything is running smooth. Everything is running perfect. And then you get that first little bump in the road of, oh, there's this temptation from my past. What do I do?
Yeah.
Do I follow my want, or do I follow the dream guy that I'm with, that I have spent so much time, investing and getting to know and bonding and talking to and seeing how sweet and intimate that he is, without just going, hey, let's jump right into bed.
Yeah, and then she goes and makes the wrong decision when, well, for people who haven't read it, then just forget what I said. But
Well, there's several wrong decisions that could have been made. So that's building of anticipation.
I had
There's
a
several.
review from someone who gave Midwinter Night's Dream. They're the one person who gave it a 1-star review, and she said I actually spoke to her. I actually broke the rule and sent her a message, and said to her, "What do you like? Why did you give it a 1-star review?" And she's like, "Well, the character's doing all these really stupid things," and I said to her, "Do you realise that you're meant to pick up on the fact that they're doing stupid things because no one in reality would do those things?" And she says, "But the female character is like a Stepford wife. You know, she's like too perfect." And I was like, "That's exactly what she's meant to be."
And
Yeah.
playing off this, actually, you inspired me to create the sequel to 45 Days. You know, you're finally going to
Okay.
get those answers with Dakota and Heather.
Oh, cool.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah, watching that video, I'm like, I mean, and to be honest, that side story, I mean, just came out of nowhere because honestly, I needed material.
yeah,
And it wrote itself. It's just one of those times where you just you think of the character, you think of that situation, and you just let it write itself. And I mean, to me, it came out beautifully.
yeah, yeah. I did really find that side story interesting, and
And
yeah,
and actually, I did a live right before the pandemic, right as the pandemic was really picking
yeah,
up steam. I did a live write with those characters, and the material that was in that live write is actually going to go into that novel, which starts at the beginning of stage 2 of the Jason Blayne literary universe, the JBLU.
yeah.
So I
Cool.
mean, it's not far away.
It's like a universe in the same way that Marvel has a universe and
Yeah.
Harry Potter has a universe.
Yes, everything
Yeah,
is going to be everything is interconnected. Actually, with let me grab it real quick. This one right here, Twisted Saga Origins.
yeah.
45 Days is prequeled in this book. Allie
Cool.
and Aiden are right there, literally almost back to each other, but they don't meet. Not yet.
That's pretty awesome. As I've done a similar thing, like I've only a few books out at the moment, but the characters from A Midwinter Night's Dream, some of them cross over with the other books. I mean, the side characters cross over. There's his girlfriend's sister's partner. She is in the latest Derailed and Dispersed book, and she
See,
just
that's what
because
makes
they
it
took.
fun.
Sorry.
You know, that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it
Yeah.
so rewarding is the fact that, hey,
Yeah.
to you, these may be one-off characters, but to me, I can create an entire
Yeah.
universe just off an idea.
Yeah. So this is sort of happens before that book. So this is set 20 years ago, and but because it's in first person, she's joking with the reader, and she's going she goes, "Now, where have you heard of me before?" She goes, "Well, if you've read A Midwinter Night's Dream, I was in that book."
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah,
I
so
love it.
yeah, the
I love
characters
it
do
when
break the
writers
fourth wall.
I love it
Yeah,
when writers can break the fourth wall, have some fun, and just get a
yeah,
reaction.
yeah. That they all break the fourth wall in that book because they say they're writing it in 2020, but they're talking about what happened in 1999. So like the most recent one I'm writing, she's telling the reader about where she's sitting while she's writing it and stuff like that. And she's like, "I've sat down in the office, I've locked the door so my husband can't get in," and stuff like that. And yeah, but this one Katie, she jokes with the audience and she goes, "Well, I know there's a lot of gay people in this book." And she goes, "I would change my sexuality, but I was gay in the other book, so I can't really change."
I mean, that's part of having the fun and having the openness
Yeah,
to doing what we do.
yeah.
So here's another question for you.
Okay.
Let's say, could you see your books being made into motion pictures? If so, who would you cast for your roles? For which, we'll just do one for the moment. Pick a book,
Okay.
and who would you cast?
Um, I've answered this one when other people have asked this on like Facebook and stuff like that. So I need to go with the same answer, and my answer would be I would cast someone who's totally unknown because I think I wouldn't want the characters to be sort of stereotyped by the actor, and I think they're both very young as well. So it should be someone who is the right age to play the character, and they're most likely going to be unknown.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've got to think long and hard about this because, I mean, for me, it is almost a reality for me with Archway Publishing. They're already talking about movie rights for Escaping River Creek. So, for me, if I could afford him, I'd take Tom Holland for Corey because he's got that slender athletic build that I'm looking for. He's close to the right age, and if not, they can present him at that age. And then I can't remember her last name, but it was the girl that played the leading role in The Fifth Wave. Chloe somebody. I can't. God, Lord, I wish somebody.
Is it Chloe Grace Moretz?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she would be perfect in that. For one of those
she's
roles.
a good actress.
She is. I think The Fifth Wave was a great movie. It just was very.
I've not seen that one.
But, you gotta watch it. It's good. It is good.
Yeah, need to put it up on the big screen up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good one. So carrying on with that, where would you like to see your writing career go? Would you like to stay full independent? Would you like to be picked up by a publishing house or a traditional publisher?
I think depends if any publishing houses were interested in it, and I don't know whether they would be. I've not even tried, so I keep.
See, I owe my thanks to one Miss Anna Todd. I followed her writing career. We're friends on Facebook, and sometimes we'll chat back and forth. But I've seen how she's progressed, how she's done things. I found who her publisher was, and I contacted them, and they said, "Well, since you don't have an agent, you can't submit your work because then it's still unsolicited. But what we can do is we can hook you up with our sister company, Archway." Yeah. And if you get time with them, prove that you have a good name, that you have a good product, that you are talented, you know how they build the things. Yeah. So, and like I said, everybody at Archway right now, they're easy to work with. They love my work. My marketing manager, Marcus is his full name. He's done anthologies for the last 10 years or more. I'm his first fictional romance author, and he was hooked into River Creek. He's like, here's the options. I want to take you as far as I can take you. He's like, I want to get enough steam rolling for you that you can't be ignored by Simon and Schuster. So I'm like, hey, if I'm on board, let's make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that does sound a good way of doing it. I mean, I've had a few people telling me that I should get a publisher, and then I've had a few people with publishers telling me that they want to break away from their publishers. So
yeah, I mean, it's and you got to be careful, and this goes out to all the young, new, and prospective and aspiring young authors that are coming into this. You have to be careful with the publishing houses, because there are some out there that will rip you off, that will just take your money and then boom, they vanish, they're gone, you've been ripped off. And then if they do all the copywork and trademark work right, they own your work, you don't. So you have to be careful. You have to do your due diligence. You have to make sure you research, not just jump straight at the first offer.
Yeah, definitely. I was given a list of publishers who might take me on, but I haven't contacted any of them yet. This was by another friend on Facebook. I'm not certain what her real name is because she keeps changing it. So
like with Archway, I mean, there was a few things that were questionable in Escaping River Creek, which I knew was a bit of a stretch. But I mean, with fiction, you want to give that suspension of disbelief. So there was a few things that were kind of factually wrong, and we went back and forth on that, and it got taken out, and I altered a few things. But overall, I mean, they wanted to leave the story the way that it was written, even the way that I write, third person present tense. I mean, to them, they could see everything in their mind just rolling in their mind like a movie reel.
Yeah.
And it is off-putting at first, like so many have said, doing third person and present tense. But once you get into that, I mean, you can just it takes you to a different place.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's that was how I found it. I found it difficult for maybe the first couple of chapters, and then I thought it was totally unique. It's again, everyone's got their own style. It was your unique style that I found was made it more interesting, definitely. Whereas
Because
a
I
lot
mean,
of people,
the tradition is, usually first person, past tense, things like that. But that's the way that a lot of readers have been trained, and the way that they're used to. And
yeah,
sometimes you got to shake the tree to see what falls. Sometimes you got to break those rules.
yeah. When my editor changed my book into present tense, it was just it just looked completely alien to me, and I was like, what's she done?
And some
And a
things
lot of it
are
didn't.
meant to be,
Sorry.
some things are meant to be past tense, some things are meant to be present tense, and just the way that
Yeah,
I'm working the overall storyline to the arc at the end of each stage, it has to be in the moment. It has to be, this is what's going on right
yeah,
then, right there. Just, it's building to something overall.
yeah. I totally get that. It's and it fits your story. Whereas with mine, she was saying, "I go here, I do this," and like I was like, "No, you didn't. You did that 20 years ago." It's supposed to be someone saying they're now in 2020 saying, "I did this 20 years ago," but it doesn't work. If she's saying, "I go here, I go to this, I do that," like,
And there were times that I went traditional, when the scene called for it, when a story's being told within the story of this was said, this is what happened, and yeah, I kind of weave in between both.
yeah.
So
That's something else I noticed that Stephen King does with it as well, where sometimes he's saying something happened in past tense, and then it goes from being in third person to being in first person because it's notes written from the characters which they've written in first person, and then it'll go back to third person again.
yep. So like I said, sometimes you just got to break those rules.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, so have there ever been times that you have been envious of other authors who have gotten away from being full independence to say with publishing houses or traditional publishers?
Well, I think it's with that case of it's you've got to be happy for anyone who has had success because we all want success,
We do.
and some of those people are sort of dubious about whether whether that person should be that successful. Like for example, E.L. James, who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, but then you can't blame her for making loads and loads of money out of it and having it made into a film. But I've heard some bits of the writing and it was terrible.
I mean, I could see where some authors would get, those who have been, let's say, 10, 12, 15 years in. And then you get
Yeah,
someone like me who is at the right place at the right time, made the right connection. And I'm only
yeah,
5, 6 years in. So, I mean,
yeah,
I could kind of see where that is. But at the same time, you know, hashtag supporting the authors is not just something that I post. It's something that I try to do all the time. I mean,
yeah,
I've shared your work plenty of times. I've shared your YouTube channel.
exactly. Yeah,
I've like CJ Cassidy, Lucas Black, Hillary Storm. I've shared her work. She's a really good friend that I've met in person at a couple of
yeah,
author events. And just you we've gotten away from supporting each other to being envious of each other. That's why I had that question.
yeah,
And I think it's a very valid question because, like I said, we've gone from a tight knit, independent community of supporting each other to some authors. I hate to say, I hate. I'm not going to name any names because I would never
no,
do that to somebody. I don't believe in public humiliation.
yeah,
But we've gotten from support to slitting each other's throats. I mean, one
yeah,
author a few months back committed suicide because of other independent authors badgering her
Yeah,
and telling her to
yeah,
go kill herself.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And we can't be like that.
No, that
We're
was
not
horrible.
supposed to be that kind of people. We're supposed to be better than that.
Exactly, yeah.
Whether we
Yeah,
write the
that
big
was
stuff or not, we're supposed to help support, build, guide, and help each other. Not tear each other down. We're not animals.
exactly. And I saw some of the comments from her family as well, and I can see why they would think that some they what I can see why they don't like the author community, if
Yeah.
because I can't remember the name of the person. There was someone who was accused of being the person who caused her to commit suicide, but I can't remember their name. But it's not somebody I know.
I mean, we've really lost, a
Yeah,
really tight knit community, and just everybody's just, they've jumped on different bandwagons, whether that sadly be political, or they've jumped on, you stole my story, no, you stole my material, or we were
yeah,
co-writing, it didn't work out, so I took this, and then you will know I was going to take. I mean, it's just it's really flipped itself to an ugly version of what it used to be.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally get that.
And I mean, that's why I have that hashtag when I share people's work of supporting the authors, because we need to support each other. We need to get ourselves back
Exactly.
to a good reputation. We need to get ourselves back to being where we used to be. And I know some people are
Yeah,
going to see this, they know where I'm associated with Archway. Well, you're on your way out. Well, you don't know that. And even if I am, that means
yeah,
I'm not going to abandon friends and colleagues and people that
exactly. Yeah,
I'm going to help. I've mentored quite a few new authors that have come out in the last couple of years.
yeah,
And I'm not going to
exactly.
sit here and badger on them. Some of them have been fantasy. Okay, so I hooked them up with the people they needed to know. That's because
Yeah,
I want to see every writer get their story out.
yeah, exactly. And this is what I'm trying to do as well. Help people with these videos. Unfortunately, not many people are watching them, but
I mean,
yeah,
it's a thankless job to help and support each other. But at the end of the day, if you
yeah,
can say, "Hey, I knew this kid when he was just," or they, he, she, they, whoever they are, or it could
yeah,
be a team. It could be two ghostwriters. I remember helping them get started out. Hey, great for them! Congratulations! I'm going to join
yeah,
you there one of these days. You got there, you beat me to it. Hey, awesome! I'm going to
yeah,
make sure I'm one up you when I get to that stage.
yeah. Exactly. You don't want to be envious of someone who's worked hard, if even if they've just had you just saw that they've had the breaks maybe that you haven't had or something like that. But you don't be envious of them, because it's where we all want to get to. And it's better to help people than to go against them.
I mean, we're all here to tell a story. Some of us are here
Exactly.
to tell fantasy. Some of us are here to tell romance. Some of us are here to bring thrills. I mean, some of us want to get that cold, spine chilling shiver right down someone's back, just to
Yeah.
make them
Yeah.
stop, think, and just. I mean, that's just cold. That's cold blooded. Like,
Yeah.
we're here to entertain. We're not here to, bag on each other.
Yeah. And one of the things that I don't like the idea of like copying things from other authors. Something that I had an idea from that I got from your book. Right, this was something that I haven't actually finished writing it yet, but there was a specific scene in 45 Days. I think you know the one where the female or male rape sort of thing was sort
Ah,
of rape, yeah.
I know
But
exactly
so
which scene you're talking about.
yeah,
And I know to some people that's a little far fetched, but here's a
yeah,
little inside tip. I know someone who that actually happened to.
yeah. I've heard of someone who that happened to as well.
So
But
I know some people are like, well, how can that actually happen? Oh, trust me, if you've had a
yeah,
long and a bender, things can happen you wouldn't believe.
yeah. So
So
I thought there's a plot line in coming up book where these evil witches need 2 virgins to burn.
I
That's
love
cool.
the cover.
That's cool. These evil witches need 2 virgins to burn, and there's only 2 virgins that are there, and they don't realize that they know what's going to happen. So what the idea was that they get locked up together, and one of them escapes, and they end up making themselves not virgins, so the witches can't burn them. So they thought the idea, the last minute idea is that they thought, how are we going to escape this? And but they can't use, if they thought the spell won't work if we're not virgins anymore. So so that's the so while they're escaping from them, they quickly just sort of hide round the corner and make sure that they're not virgins anymore. But I thought, had the idea from yours. What if the boy is unconscious? If he's unconscious, and she knows that they're about to be murdered in about 10 minutes, so they're about to be sacrificed in about 10 minutes.
Glad I could help.
So to stop their sacrifice, she sort of lays him down and puts him in position.
Right. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question. You know, are there or have there been any independent authors or professional authors who have inspired you to put anything into your stories? And I kind of got it already, a bit of an answer to that, and I'm honored. I'm honored by that.
Yeah, I thought that it's done. It's also done from a first-person point of view, so she's talking about what's going through her head while she's doing it.
That is an excellent idea. I cannot wait to read that.
Yeah, so this is going to be part 4 of Derailed and Dispersed. So you have to read the other 3 parts to before you get the concept of this, because they're like childhood friends. So they've known each other their whole lives, and she's like, God, I hope he doesn't hate me for doing this. And he sort of wakes up halfway through, and he goes, "What's going on?" She's like, "You're dreaming."
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
She also says, "You're dreaming," and he goes, "Well, you don't normally do it like that in my dreams." And she's like, "Wait, you dream about me doing this?"
A revelation within a situation. Wow, that's creative. I mean, you know, and going back to that scene in 45 Days, I mean, honestly, I probably went around 3 or 4 days. I mean, I had a version where I didn't put that scene in, and then I had the version where I did. I mean, I went back and forth. I'm like, what do I do? Because I know readers are not going to like this scene. I already knew it was going to be controversial from the very second that, you know, I plotted it. And I'm like, do I take the safe road and just get the insinuation that something could have happened?
Yeah.
Or do I just pull the trigger and do this scene and live with the consequences? Obviously, you know which one I went with.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went back and forth. My first PA, Kim, she and I had talked about it for hours. I mean, we went back and forth, pros and cons, you know. I mean, I was still just coming off the high that was River Creek. I mean, it did so well in its debut, and I wanted to keep that going, but I didn't want to just be known as a romance writer.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted 45 Days to be that anti-romance, that anti-feel-good story. I wanted that sense of, you know, that those issues and that trouble and that drama. And I'm, you know, and finally it came down to a coin toss. Heads or tails. Heads is going in, tails is not, best 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just that much of an internal struggle of just, which way do I go? I mean, I could play it safe and just, you know,
or you could
have
just totally turn it around and do something else, and then
and
that's
just blow
sort of
people's minds. And it did. I mean, who would have who would have ever thought a scene like that would be coming? You know?
that it did sort of come completely out of the blue. Although I think I did, I knew it was coming because I'd seen it in a review.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
yeah. And that, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that kind of ruins it in a way. But you're like, well, what are you're still like, well, what are they talking about? Then you get to and you're like, oh,
yeah,
now it's
yeah, yeah. Like,
unrealistic. Like,
um,
lady, that actually happened to somebody I knew.
yeah,
Unrealistic. Please.
yeah. So some of the reviews on even on my book, I'm a bit skeptical about them. I genuinely one of them, one of the 5-star reviews, I genuinely don't think that woman actually read the book, right? Because what it was is that was you're not supposed to do them. That was a review swap, and I read most of her book and gave it a good review, and then like literally 2 days after I'd reviewed her book, I get this 5-star review on my book saying that it was like Angels and Demons, and I was like, was it?
Interesting. Now,
Yeah.
this feeds into a question I didn't have written down. So, how
Okay.
do you feel as ratings as opposed to the actual reviews? Like, I just got a 5-star rating for both Cherry Skies and one for A Heart Split for Two with no review, just a rating. I've gotten 1-star ratings for all 3 of the
Yeah.
Twisted Saga novels. Now, how do you feel about it? Because to me, if you're going to leave 1 star, please leave a review so I know what you didn't like. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
give me the feedback. I mean, I'll take the 1-star rating, but I'm like, okay, well, how do I know what you did and didn't like if you don't tell me? I mean, I'll take the 1 star.
Yeah.
It's a way to learn.
Now the only thing that I think about that is on Amazon. It's a bit hard to say really because I only have one-star review, and that was the one on that was the one on Goodreads. And I asked the woman and I chatted to her about it, and she's now my friend on Facebook, and we get on really well. And she just said that she didn't understand that book, and she's quite happy to read my other books.
Well, see,
But
I've got, my very first book, like I said, I got the 1-star review for Shadow Wolf's Youthful Inexperience. And then my Twisted Saga, which is the adult version of that
yeah,
entire trilogy, someone a few months back just left a 1-star rating. I mean, like I said, I'll take the 1-star reviews all day long because I can learn from them.
yeah,
But when you leave, just a rating, why? What? That's what
yeah.
burns me
That's
out more
the
than
thing
the
is, what do
review
you learn
itself.
from it?
Yeah,
Again,
I want to take the opportunity to learn what you didn't like and fix.
yeah. That's what I would like people to say that what they didn't like, so you can fix it.
I
But
mean,
my
I'm
problem
going to
that
value your opinion, whether it's good or
yeah,
bad. That's how I learn from what I've done wrong.
exactly. Um, the lowest one I've got, which had an actual proper detailed review, was a 3-star, and that's again another review swap that I did. But the woman just basically gave it 3 stars because it wasn't romance, wasn't her thing really.
Yeah, well, that's
That
like me.
was
I got a 3-star on Escaping River Creek from Hi Nanette. I'll give you a shout out. But I mean,
yeah,
when I first released that one, it was young and new adult. It was,
yeah,
I was still getting, I was still kind of green, still was kind of newish. I was only about 2-3 years in. But I mean, I
yeah,
was working my way up to getting away from that, and I went back, revised it, and of course now it is 18 plus with the material that's in it. But I mean, and I respected the fact she gave it 3 stars.
yeah.
There's never been a hard feeling about it. It's never
No,
been, well, I revised it, go back and redo it. I mean, I respect the fact of the star rating and the review and being honest. I mean, she said right in the review on Goodreads, this is not my type of genre. I'm normally, more adult oriented, but this was still a very strong book that Corey and Tara deserve a
yeah,
more adult sequel, which they're getting. So, I mean, you
Yep.
can learn and adapt and even use reviews to create more stories down the line. But I mean, leave us something to go by, not just, oh, 1 star. Okay, I thought it was 4 stars. Okay, I thought it was 5 stars. Okay, those are great. But I mean,
Yeah.
5 stars, anything from 3 stars up will feed the ego, yes. But 1 and 2 stars, please, please, please leave what you didn't like. I mean,
Yeah.
not everybody's going to be as understanding as like you and I are and try to learn from it. Some people are vindictive, and I understand that. There are those writers and those authors out there. But you do
Yeah.
have people like us who do try to learn from our mistakes because we want to do better in what we do in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've seen like even some of the best authors they just have like probably even some of the better rated books will still have like 100 1-star reviews. There'll always be someone who doesn't like it.
And I mean, that's just the world we live in. That's the reality
Exactly.
of it. I mean, any author or writer who thinks they're never going to get 1 or 2 stars, you're fooling yourself. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm
Yeah.
more of a realist than anything. You might as well get used to it. You're going to have people who buy it, read it, and don't enjoy it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Move on to the next novel. I mean, I write dark. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you know that. You've read
Yeah.
45 Days. I write dark, and I've written darker than that. I've killed off my main character in one book. And I'm not going to say how because it'll ruin it, but I brought him back in the same
Yeah.
book too. This one
Yeah.
right here.
I did that
Saga
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I love about being a fictional writer. I'm not for everybody. You're not for everybody, but there's going to be
Exactly.
those readers out there who do enjoy it. Those who didn't, okay, I'm sorry. I've got other books. If you want regular second chance romance, hey, I've got Cherry
Yeah.
Skies.
Yeah.
You can enjoy that. If you love, love triangles, I mean, I've got a Heart Split for Two. I mean, this
Yeah.
was the last release, and
I'm planning to
sadly,
read that at some point.
yeah, I've had so many people who have been waiting on this book for 3 years. Finally comes out, and they're, oh, I'm excited. I'm going to read it. I'm going to pre-order it. Yeah, right. It's fallen flat on its face, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
get 2020. It's been rough. It's been difficult, and
Yeah.
it's been a time. I mean, I'm not going to lie, but I mean,
Yeah.
for those who they supported it and then they pull their support back when push comes to shove, I'm kind of disappointed in them.
Yeah. And I had Maria's Photograph, which came out last year about this time. That had the most pre-orders on it, but I'm not certain that any of the people have actually read it. I know that one author, I spoke to her about it, and she apologized for not reading it. She said that she prefers paperback copies, but she'd bought that and found that she couldn't read the Kindle, even though she writes and puts her own books on Kindle. She found that she couldn't read it and was getting migraines, which is fair
Yeah,
enough.
I can understand that to a point.
Yeah.
And, mine are both paperback and
Yeah.
ebook formats. And Cherry Skies, like I said, it is on Audible. And I mean, it's,
Yeah.
a lot of people promise, oh, yeah, I'll use my credit and get it. Cool, because I still get money for that. But, and the girl that did it, I mean, she did a phenomenal job on it. I
Yeah.
went through ACX and, got someone to agree to it. We came up with a contract. And I mean, she went above and beyond to bring these characters to life because she fell in love with the story. So, if you can find someone who falls in love with the characters as much as you do, I mean, that is really saying something.
Yeah.
That's like Lisa, my PA. Oh Lord, when she read, when she was being the alpha reader for Origins, oh
Yeah.
Lord, she said if she could have gotten to me, she would have strangled me for the breakup scene between Josh and Nikki. I mean, she said she lost it. And I'm like, yes, because I wanted that moment to be purposely so heartbreaking, just so out of nowhere to just, you think they're going to reconcile because they're talking back and forth. They've already broken up. And then just, you have these feelings because they've been through so much together that you just read from the very beginning of the book. And then you get that back and forth, dialogue of, okay, this is how we met, this is what has happened, here's where we're going, and this is
Yeah.
how it should be. And then boom, something interrupts it. They break up, and then they have this spot where they're together, which is exactly where Aiden and Allie are.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I can see it. They're gonna get back together. He saved her. He saved her from the new bad guy that she's hanging out with, and they're gonna get back together. And turns out, nope, it just sunk the ship even lower. And yeah, it's kind of a spoiler, but what happened to Carl at that moment? That's the big question these readers still have. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Now what happened? Like, hypocrites are something to read about. All I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, Lisa's brilliant though, isn't she? She saw the video, or I didn't know her at the time. She saw the video the review video that I did, and she added me as a friend on Facebook, and she then read both of my books at the time and left 5-star reviews on both of them. Unfortunately, the one for Midwinter Night's Dream just disappeared. But that's how Amazon do it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Amazon for you.
She left me a brilliant review on Maria's photograph, and so I have the 2 reviews on it now. There's Lisa's review and an anonymous one.
Yeah, I had one disappear on another book of mine. I can't remember which one it is. I can't remember which one it was, but there was one that I lost a review on. Huh.
It's strange. You never seem to lose the bad reviews.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I've got one final question for you.
Okay.
How did you decide to do these videos and or reviews on other authors? What was it that prompted you to say, hey, I'm going to step up and do this for my fellow independent authors?
I've really got no idea. I think it was mainly that I felt it would be another sort of channel for promoting work, so I could promote other authors and promote my work at the same time. And I thought, a lot of people watch YouTube videos. Unfortunately, they don't watch these ones, but
thank you,
TikTok.
Maybe you ought to go to TikTok and start a channel up there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there. Don't hold me to it, but I think there may be a way you could tie TikTok and YouTube together. I think I've heard you can, but I don't know if it's true or not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when you posted, oh yeah, Jason, I just finished reading 45 Days. I'm going to have a video review up soon. I was like, it's going to be good or bad. Which when I watched that video, and I knew I was going to revise this at some point, because like I said, I was like you, I'd hit publish, then go back and try to fix a lot of things. I wanted to get that base going, but I've watched that video so many times for tips and pointers, and and I hear you in my head when I'm writing. Okay, I don't want to get that same critique from other readers, and this is coming from another author, so others are going to pick up on it. How do I not use certain words so frequently? And I went back and revised and revised and revised. So see, I took advice.
Well,
so see, this is still a terrific tool to use.
Yeah. I'm hoping to do some more book reviews now that the Kindle's working again. So this won't be the last. Obviously, I've got a couple more interviews to do as well. I mean, I've still got some in editing. I've got the end of Rachel's to do. I've got another guy. I can't remember his name, but he was that Shannon set me up with him. He's actually living in the UK at the moment. He's an American living in the UK. And I didn't realise until I read his bio that he couldn't actually see me, even though I had some. I was sat there talking to him, and I thought he's not really looking at the camera, but I didn't think really why he was doing that. And then I read his bio afterwards, and he can't see, but it was never mentioned.
Things you learn.
Yeah.
But, and that's kind of ironic, because my biggest reading base is in the UK.
That's really weird because it works the other way around. Because my biggest reading base is in America and US. So
I think it's that culture thing. Is our culture
yeah,
is different than yours. Yours is different than ours. But somehow we're still
yeah,
interrelated. So let's learn about the differences.
yeah. I
Because
think that as
about
well.
70 to 80% of my entire reading base is there in the UK.
Yeah, I think it's possibly because as well the again, you say the culture thing. They're dreaming about placing themselves in a different place. It's about the escapism, and you escape further by going to a different country.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's like where I'm from. A lot of our dialect actually comes from like Scotland, Ireland, and different parts of the UK.
yeah,
Like West Virginia by itself has over 7 dialects and 7 different
yeah.
accents within its own state.
That's quite a lot.
It
I
is. It's
mean,
one of the most in all the southern states.
my accent probably isn't as pronounced right now because I'm speaking more clearly now. But um, Norfolk accent, a lot of people mistake it for coming from another country. Um, I'm trying to think of something to say in like proper Norfolk, which probably you wouldn't understand, which I understand. So like, um, yet one of the more famous ones. Can't read nor write, can't do my sums, but I'm sure drive my tractor boy.
That's a little hard.
Yeah. Um, basically translates as I can't read or write, I can't do sums, but I can drive a tractor.
Ah.
And there was days trashing at Swaffham for nothing. Yeah, it's his days troshing at Swaffham for nothing. But that's just a that's what people take they laugh at the Norfolk accent. That's what when people come here, you say, "Well, can you say that?" And so they're like, "What?"
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
like there's one character on King of the Hill.
yeah,
I can't remember his name right off the top of me. Uh, Boomhauer.
yeah,
Boomhauer. I have relatives who talk like Boomhauer, and I can understand them clearly. Everybody else is like, "What did they just say?"
yeah,
Oh, he just said he's going to be right back.
yeah. Yeah,
So I mean,
there's different variations of it. Like some people speak a lot differently. I mean, it's changed with like the invention of the TV and stuff like that because people have accents they get from what they pick up accents from watching TV. But I've got a friend who is she when she was about 18 or 19, she was sounding like, "How you doing, boy? What you been up to today?" It was like, I'm like, I can just about understand what she's saying, and she comes from like the next village. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm supposed to ask you some questions, aren't I?
that's all right.
Okay, so
Like I said, we were gonna make this just a little bit different because you have in a way interviewed me already. So
yeah. Okay, so I
let's
can
give the
still ask
people a
you
little
some
bit
more.
more insight to what they think.
So
All right.
I'll ask some of the other questions. So, what book are you planning to read next? Uh,
Oh, what book do I plan to read? Whew, I've got so many to catch up on. Uh,
yeah,
I do want to get into I definitely want to get into your work. So I need to get the
yeah,
order of how your books go.
yeah,
Uh, friend of mine, Tanis Owen, she's writing her own books. Once she's finished with those, I'm hopefully either beta or we'll get those once they come out. I can't remember what she's titled them off the top of my head.
okay,
But I would love to get back into something like, like John Grisham, or I'm a huge Tom
yeah,
Clancy fan. I love Clancy. Big Jack Ryan fan. Love all those books, and Hell, I'd be
Yeah,
happy if I could find time just to read a paragraph.
yeah, that's the problem. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
something I found out I can do if I'm having to drive somewhere. I can plug the Kindle into the car and make it put text to speak on, and it'll come out of the speakers. Which
See, that's a good thing to have.
yeah, yeah, I had to get a different car recently because literally 2 days after we came out of lockdown, the engine blew up on the other one. So yeah,
Um,
yeah, on the way to a hospital appointment as well. So
oh,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's been something. I mean, this lockdown thing, it's taking its toll on people. That ain't no
yeah,
lie.
yeah. We're back in lockdown at the moment, but it's a different type of lockdown. It's not quite as strict as it was originally.
I mean, the state next to me, Kentucky, they're in a way they're in a point of a lockdown, but it's not like it was before. I mean,
Yeah,
they don't want you being out too much. State of Ohio has a curfew in effect. West Virginia is just wear your mask. I'm not going to repeat what the governor said a few months back that he tried to deny, but it's pretty funny.
yeah,
Um, it's plus my job's demanding. I don't sleep a whole lot on top of it, as you
yeah,
know. I mean, a lot of nights I'm up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and
yeah,
generally I go to my body crashes, and that makes it hard to read too. I mean, even with the help of my reading glasses here,
yeah,
your eyes still just get to that point of like, I've read that like 5 times now. When am I going to get to the next
yeah.
sentence?
Yeah, that's how I am some of the time. I mean, because I'm a carer now, I'm at home all of the time anyway. But because I've
Yep.
got obviously my wife or partner, she's not really my wife, but she's got several disabilities, and then I've got her brother to look after as well. But
Yeah,
I used
my
to work
job.
night shifts before that.
Yeah, my job. I mean, I'm technically supposed to be second shift, but I'm working a split shift right now because our
Yeah,
third shift person in my department is the only person for that shift. And the poor woman, I mean, she's already, almost 80 years old. Her and her husband
yeah,
lost their retirement back in '08, so they had to go back to work. And I can understand her wanting, especially my age group, or rather our age group, to
yeah,
be distant from her because, we're more asymptomatic to the virus than she is.
yeah,
I'd feel horrible if I, brought the virus in on her. God forbid I ever did, which I take
yeah,
every precaution I can. But I'm split shift at the moment. I'm in uh, two different phases of my department. I work in the lab half day, then I go back to my regular
yeah,
job the other half of the day, and then I still have paperwork to do. I've got to go see people to fix paperwork.
yeah,
I've got to talk to other people. And so for me, I mean, my mind is just literally drop the pen and watch the ripples fly,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
that
you've
makes it
got so much going on. It's really hard to concentrate on writing and reading as well.
and
Yeah,
for what I do, I'm the only person on my shift that does it now because my coworker, I'm happy for her, but she found a different job and she bailed on me.
yeah, yeah,
But I mean, she's doing better. She's happy at what she's doing, and
yeah. You
and
have to
that's
be happy with what you're doing. I mean, I go crazy being here. You know, I would rather be going out doing a day job, but it was kind of didn't have a choice really. I had to give up I was working nights in petrol station, and it just wasn't working. You know, I couldn't. I was having to take days off and stuff like that. So
I work for an
yeah,
international medical device company,
yeah.
so we
So
manufacture IOL lenses, intraocular lenses for people who have things like glaucoma, cataracts, things like that.
yeah, so you have quite an important job, so you can't
And I
just bail
work
out on
in the
it.
quality department, so for me, everything has to make sure it is correct. Everything has to line up. Everything has to be ready in case the FDA walks in. Okay, well, here's the paperwork. It's all in order. If not, go talk to this guy, and I don't want to talk to them.
No.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to
it
be.
does have its perks.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
But I mean, my job does have its perks. I do have more freedom to do than my wife works for the same company, but she works in a different department.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
she
mine
works a
is
lot of
just
night shifts. I see that she works a lot of night shifts, and um, she said the same thing. She was reading my book, but she was finding it really hard to concentrate on it because of having to work nights and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand that because I was working nights as well before. I was doing like I think I'd done like 15 in a row, something like that. And yeah, and I came home at the end of it. I couldn't sleep, even though I'd been awake for 15 nights straight. I couldn't sleep, and I drank 2 bottles of cider to try and sleep, and ended up going out again.
Yeah.
And even though I'd been awake on all of those nights, I think then I decided to go out again, and then went out again. Got drunk the next night, and I was wandering around at 2 o'clock in the morning, having not been asleep for 3 days, something like that.
I do know how that feels.
Yeah. So it's been a
All
long
right, next
time
question.
since that's happened, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so any more questions? I've got okay. Um, we'll just do a couple more.
All right.
Okay. So we've done the whole what made you want to write books? How long have you been writing? Um, we've talked about the world of indie authors as well. So a lot of these questions we've already done. We've done that one. Okay. And we've talked about what genres you write as well. So okay, so we've mainly covered most of it.
All right.
Okay, so one thing though, who is your favorite author?
Oh, so many to think off the top of my head. I mean, like
Yeah,
I said, I'm a huge Tom Clancy fan. I wish I could write like him because I mean, to me, I think
yeah,
he is just talented. I love Harper Lee. I love To Kill a Mockingbird. I know today's day and age that is a politically incorrect book to read.
yeah. I haven't read any of those yet. That's something that I will probably do in the future at some
And
point.
just keep in mind that it is a book that was a whole other generation compared to what is out there
Exactly.
now.
Yeah,
Lois Lowry, like I said, I love the Giver quartet set of books. I still haven't got through all of them yet. Clancy, Lee, Lowry, Stephen King. I mean, I haven't read him in a while. I do like Harry Potter. I do love J.K. Rowling's books and
yeah,
Fantastic Beasts as well. And I mean, I got a lot of respect for all of those professional writers that I read because I mean, it's not just that they're traditionally published, but I mean, the struggle that they've had to go through to get to that point, the fight, the will, the sacrifice, and just everything else that I know being in entertainment, what they've had to give up to get there.
yeah. Totally. I mean, J.K. Rowling, she was one of the more famous stories around here. You know, she was like a single mom and she was unemployed and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
that's what they like to tell you. I don't think it was completely how they tell it because she was also a trained teacher as well. So but um, yeah, we're not allowed to. The political people will not will get into trouble for saying that we like J.K. Rowling with some of the stuff that she's come out with more recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, for the first writer in history to make the billionaires list,
yeah,
and from articles I've seen and read where she put herself back off those lists to help out with different charities and different things that she's
yeah,
done, You got to respect that, no matter where you're at in the world.
Exactly. She gave her there's the Labour Party in the UK. She gave them £1 million.
And I mean, and that's my goal, is if I can get to where my royalties like her can sustain that lifestyle, which for me, it's not
Yeah.
going to change much once I get to that point. I'm going to start giving back by, start owning my own businesses to give back to the people who put me in a position of privilege.
Yeah.
That's something entertainers forget. Whether you're amateur, professional, or anywhere in between, you forget where you come from. And I want to be able to get back to being able to be put and trusted in a position of privilege like that.
Yeah. That reminds
people,
me.
and I
Sorry.
know there's going to be people that think I'm full of it and think I'm just blowing hot air just to bring in people. But no, I have a history of proving it. Once I get to that point, I'm going to prove it, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
That's just like I've been compared to Nicholas Sparks with Escaping River Creek. I have one reader of mine who I have known since high school. She looked at the cover of River Creek, read through it, and she goes, "You're trying to copy Nicholas Sparks." I'm like, "I'll take that as a compliment, thank you."
Yeah. 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 Sometimes if you're trying to copy someone who's good, then that is a compliment, I think. Yeah. Or trying to do something similar to what they did, so not so much copy it, but put your own spin on it, maybe.
That story originally started out as, it was going to be mainly just a hockey story, mainly focused on Corey and his cockiness and how good he was. And it just, I wasn't feeling the vibe. So I was like, what? Why don't I bring in, because the story originally was, like I said, he's cocky, he's arrogant, he knows he's going to get out of there, he knows he's going to be a pro hockey player. But to me, that just seemed so cliche. So I thought, well, what if I just shake it up a little bit, rather than coming back home when his father dies to go back to the girl he had a chance with but screwed it up? What if I have this couple just like meet in that instant love at first sight? And then I bring in these tragedies and make it more of a true romance than just another sports story.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was intended from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each book doesn't have to be about one thing. I think that's what I'm finding as well with Derailed and Dispersed, whereas there's so many backstories that are going on in it. I mean, it's primarily a story about these people who are on a train, and the train crashes in the middle of nowhere, and then they think that it's just an innocent thing that the train crashed, and but there's people missing, and they're going out looking for the missing people, and then they find that they've been put in a trap where there's these evil witches all around them, and but each person has their own backstory, so there's romance in it as well as the paranormal and stuff like that, and it deals with like personal tragedies and stuff like that. And one of the characters in it is like, there's the way that you were saying about giving back to people who help you. The woman who runs their business, she sort of sees the staff as helping her, and then when she's made her millions, like years later, she's helping them by she's made a load of money out of them, and then she like goes and gives them their own businesses and stuff like that. But she doesn't ever say that she did it. It's that she'll say like they're meeting in a pub, which is owned by one of her former staff, and then her former staff member who's writing their bit will say, well, actually, it's her pub, but she doesn't want people to know that. She wants people to think it's mine. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough cold people in the world. The world needs to see there's still good people willing to give other good people a chance.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, to be compared to Nicholas Sparks, I mean, to me, that was just one of the biggest compliments of my young writing career.
Definitely.
And I mean, even Archway said the way that I write is exactly what Simon & Schuster's looking for, and the fact that I am that kind of romance author, I mean, that's just bonus points of getting me signed.
Yeah.
So what else you got for me, Sam?
Okay. There's not too many questions left on here that we haven't covered.
Wow.
Okay.
We're just good like that.
Because we've talked about the world of indie authors and have you struggled, and we've said about your current work. Do you get recognized by people?
Yes. Actually, my cousin messaged me last week about an inspiring writer. And because, this writer seen that my cousin was on my friends list. And when my cousin actually told her that we're related, she's like, no way.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm getting more recognition. The fact that someone, like my cousin has someone that wants to have me as kind of their mentor. I mean, that's just, that's changing everything.
Yeah. See, I wish I got recognised for writing, but I don't get recognised for writing. But I got recognised for a few other things, like indoor rowing being the first thing that I did. But I still get recognised just about for that, even though I haven't competed in a while. But
yeah, I remember
years,
on the interview video we did that you put your karaoke part in a pub on there. That was pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I got recognised for doing karaoke, but I haven't been there in a long time either, because I don't live near there anymore. So, and the pub which I did do a lot in is now a supermarket, unfortunately. But that's the problem. There, a lot of the pubs are closing down. But I was walking down the street once and just minding my own business, and this girl comes up. Her and her partner were there, and she turned round to me and she goes, "I know him, I know him." And I was like, she was really, really drunk as well, and she was pulling her partner back. She's like, "We have to go and say hello. Is that a guy from karaoke?"
Oh wow!
I'm like, yeah, okay, and yeah, and another one, I'm not certain if it was the same woman actually. She came in and saw me when I was at work, and she goes, "You're that bloke who does karaoke, aren't you?" And I was like, she was like, "Were you there?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Were you there that night in the pub when it kicked off and people were throwing glasses?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was there." And she goes, "I was one of the people throwing glasses at the stage." And I went, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "Yeah, you were throwing glasses at the stage, and my friend was on stage at the time. That was really mature, wasn't it?"
Now I can say that it was my very first author event, Rebels and Readers, and this is when I met S.I. Hayes' partner, Jess Haney, because she was PAing for Nick Salupo. But that weekend, I will never forget, this mother had come up to my table and she asked, "Are you sitting for Jason or are you actually Jason?" And I told her, I am Jason. And she came around my table and just gave me the world's biggest hug. And my wife was just sitting there looking like, what in the world? And she took a step back. She's like, "Thank you for the book you wrote. I let my 15-year-old buy it and read it. And after he finished reading it, he came to me and just broke down because someone was able to connect to him, and a writer showed him that it's okay to be flawed and troubled and sad and depressed and be confused." And she said that he was really withdrawn. She was worried about him, but after reading my book, he came and opened up about how he was feeling and just the things that were troubling him. And to me, I mean, that's still just the biggest mark of anything I've done.
Yeah,
To make an
that's
impact on
amazing.
somebody like that.
That's amazing if you can touch someone that much. I mean, I've never actually been to one of these book events. Not yet. I was due to go to one in April of this year, and
And of
obviously
course,
we know what happened then. So
yeah.
Well,
There's been a few I've been invited to over in the UK, but it's expensive to go from this side of the pond.
Yeah, it is that would be a lot of money. But yeah,
Yeah.
we had one locally, and I entered it, but they said they were going to let us know, and then I knew a few people who had entered it, so I imagine that, but yeah, it never happened. So, but there are a few that go on up and down the country, hopefully next year. So it's a good way. It's a great way to connect with readers.
Oh, it is. It really is.
Yeah, and like a lot of people have merchandise and stuff like that, which they give out. Did you see Rachel? She's got loads of it. Don't know if you're friends with her on Facebook, but she posted pictures of it the other day.
I can't remember if I am or not. I don't think I
I don't
am.
know. She's only sort of recently started adding people, I think. But
I'll have to find it.
yeah. So
Well, Rachel, if you
yeah,
find me first, you can
I
add
only
me.
added her. I only added her after I'd done the interview. I had absolutely no idea who I was going to be talking to. I just got this email address of this author, and so it was like, and then sent her the link to it. And I was like, oh, hello.
I mean, sometimes
Yeah,
surprises can be a good thing.
yeah,
And like I said, I mean, those were some entertaining videos.
yeah. There's still some more of it to come. The bits were I don't know how much of it's going to be allowed to be put out there, because we were just talking about random stuff, and her PA might not like some of the stuff we were talking about.
Yeah, tread lightly, my friend. Tread lightly.
Yeah, yeah. She's always worrying about what Shannon's going to think of something. So yeah, and I've got this other guy whose name I can't even remember, who I interviewed the day after her, and then on the Thursday I interviewed this woman called Melissa from Texas, and I don't even have her on Facebook, so I'm like, I'm gonna find her, I think, but yeah, there's still a few interviews to sort of cut up a bit, and over the next few days. So hopefully this one will get some put up at some point.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the other one too.
Yeah, the other one as well. Well, that is it's in Dropbox somewhere. And do you know an author called Scott Huggins?
I've heard the name. I don't think I've met him yet.
No, I vaguely know him. Apparently, he sent me one too. So I've got to go back through my emails and try and find it. And then Lasasha wants to do another one.
She's good. She was
Yeah,
She was good.
she was really good, and I want to try and encourage her, because she's talking about quitting.
Oh,
Yeah,
she can't quit
she
yet.
said that she's not making enough money to get her books edited. She has to pay for them she has to pay from the profits from their current work to get the next one edited, and she said that she's not making enough sales to afford it.
Have you introduced her to Jess and them to see if maybe they could help her out? Because I mean, I'm going to hit them with
I introduced her to my editor as well.
Because I'm going to hit up Jess.
Editor is really cheap.
Yeah, I'm going to hit up Jess and them to have them go through the rest of my books, because everything that I've done is going to be featured by Archway. I mean, they didn't pick up the rest, but they're going to go ahead as a being courteous to me, having these others, and have everything related on their website and promote my other books too. So I mean, I couldn't say no to that.
Yeah, I'm going to look into working with Jess and Shannon, but what I said to them, I don't want to give up on my current editor either. So so I'm going to sort of work with them, maybe to get formatting or PA work and stuff like that done.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, because she said that she's about getting a mailing list and stuff like that. That's my main problem. I haven't got a mailing list. So yeah, I know Lasasha was talking me through that as well, how to do that, and she had something like 3,000 people on her mailing list.
Whoa.
But yeah, but she said a lot of them weren't buying though. So yeah,
It's become a tough
yeah,
time being an indie. It is.
yeah. And then I have this guy Aaron who wants to he wants to do an interview, and he says he'll do one at some point, but he keeps sending me these rap videos, and I think he's a bit crazy. So yeah, but so it would be interesting to speak to him. But he just like in his videos, he just talks really, really quickly and just goes on this, that, the other, and like you like can't even keep up with him.
Wow.
And then another author who wants to do one, who I'm not certain about. I might have to make a few cuts in that video, quite a lot of cuts. Chrissy Corbell. Don't know whether you've heard of her.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, she got into trouble with a few people on Facebook, and a lot of people won't speak to her. So, yeah, I think she has bipolar, and I think she said a few things she shouldn't have said. There was something about her talking about homosexuality being forced on kids and stuff like that. And
you know, there's a difference between Jason and who I really am, because I mean, you know, Jason is a pseudonym, and what Jason does, Jason is about writing. Jason isn't about personal opinions, politics, religion, as we stated earlier. And yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's just some days I see something stupid that is, you know, to me is a hot button issue, and I'm like, no, this is not your personal Facebook. You do not put the personal feelings out there. I mean, there's sometimes I do break kayfabe, as they say, and I'll post something that to me speaks heavy to me, or something I think would inspire somebody. Yeah, I don't intend to offend anybody or to be, you know, to be anything negative. It's just sometimes you have to break kayfabe and just be yourself. But I mean, as far as the personal issues, like, you know, with everything that's going on, with everything that's changing in the world, that's for the world to go on about. My world, when it comes to Jason, is just writing and entertaining.
Exactly.
That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
I'm not here to give my personal opinion. I'm not here, you know, when you get to that place where, like I said, being professional and being a privilege, I'm not going to use that power to further my own ego or my own agenda by being selfish. I'm going to be selfless. You know, like I said, I'm going to be one that gives back, not just take and hoard. That's not who I am. That's never been who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way to be, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
people might not agree with it, but they're wrong.
When you put your trust into somebody and you don't get it back, then that person needs to be fired or eliminated or pushed aside and let somebody else fill the void. And to me, I don't trust a politician to get anything done, because they're going to be in it for themselves. They're going to be in it for their own legacy.
Yeah.
My legacy that I want to leave for this earth and the next generation is, if you're going to do it yourself.
Yep. That's the best way to be.
And I mean, I know there's situations that, you know, it can't be helped. You do have to rely on somebody, but I mean, to rely on somebody to tell you how to run your life, I'm sorry, but no, that's not the way we're designed to be. We're designed to help ourselves.
Exactly.
You know, I didn't get to the point where I'm going by relying on somebody else to, you know, hey, write this, and go be famous.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be doing what you're told to do. You want to be doing what comes to you naturally. And then if it doesn't make you famous, then at least you did what you wanted to do.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, I mean, I have a good job. If I don't make it, okay, I still have a good job with a good retirement, great benefits, and everything else. I mean, I can take from my 401k right now and put a down payment on a house. And my writing is my writing. What I believe does not have to be put into what I put to entertain. It's two different people.
Yeah. And so this is another thing as well. Some people, they don't want the people they work with to know what they write. Or like if you're you say,
oh, everybody who knows I write at work, they know what I write.
Yeah.
Some of them actually
That's
grew up
cool.
with me, so they're like, yeah, I always thought you were just a little nuts. So I can just imagine what you put on paper. Yeah, once you get shot.
I've remembered now. I've got another woman who wants to do an interview, but she wants to have her face blanked out because she writes some very intimate stuff, and people at her work don't know about it because she could get in trouble for it.
Oh yeah, I mean that you want to make sure you protect somebody.
Yeah.
So I mean you can't blame somebody for that.
Yeah, that's why people use fake names and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus,
Whereas
if you
I
go to my
probably should have
identity,
done
guess
that.
what? Yeah, if you go to my identity, guess what? It doesn't technically legally exist otherwise, other than outside the Copyright and Trademark Office.
Yeah. Whereas with me, I should have done a fake name. I just didn't think about it at the time and just put my real name on the book. Yeah. And I used the Samuel J. White thing, so it sounds more professional, I think. I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. You never know who's real and who's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Lasasha, for example, we know fully well that's not her real name. She explained it in the video. It was something to do with Beyonce at some I think I do know what Lasasha's real name is, but I swear I've got an email from her somewhere with her real name on it. But even she doesn't use it. So she's like, even her family know her as that.
Yeah, I mean, even my email, I changed it to where it says indie author Jason Blayne.
Yeah.
So, there's some things you go to lengths to protect your real identity to keep people from taking advantage.
Yeah, I think I was just at the stage, well, I don't care what people think of me, so yeah. I got unfriended on Facebook by someone who I'd known most of my life because of my books.
Yeah, I've got friends that I've known since elementary. They won't add me on Facebook because they see the image, they see the name, they're like, "Oh, that's got to be fake." Nope, it's real.
Yeah.
It's just the name. I mean, the name just changed.
Yeah, I got this particular person. I don't even speak to him anymore. I used to this is one of my scout leader friends. I tried to message him on Facebook about something and found out I'd been deleted.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened.
And I was like, why did you delete me on Facebook? And he goes, I'm fed up with seeing pictures of your book.
Wow, what a friend.
He goes, because it was on a release day, and I said I just made a joke, and about saying what all the people who said, so I said clearly all the people who aren't reading my book have got something better to do, just as a joke. And he took it to heart, and he says, right, I'm not speaking to you anymore.
Well, his loss.
Yeah. Yeah, he re-added me again after that, but then we've since he's not involved with the Scouts anymore, so he's unfriended me again, which is a good thing. But someone I've known for 25 years though, it's a bit yeah. Yeah.
Well, you've answered all my questions, so we're good on my part.
Okay, so I'm just gonna check if there's any left.
All right.
I don't think there's gonna be any left. It's gone really small, so I'm having to make it much bigger. We've just talked about all this stuff anyway, so the questions are there, but it's already stuff that we've talked about. So, trying to think if there's any we haven't talked about. We know your genres. Which book do you think you're best known for?
Hands down, Escaping River Creek.
Yeah,
And it's about to be, it's about to be tenfold on that too, because from the way, yes, Archway's a publishing house. Yes, I do have to pay for things such as distribution and editing and things like that. But the distribution package I paid for, you're gonna be seeing this face everywhere here pretty soon. You're gonna be seeing it in bookstores, Walmart's, can't say Kmart's anymore because most of them shut down. Targets, I mean, it's gonna be everywhere.
Yeah, so will it? That's the question. Will it make it over to the UK?
I hope so. I mean, it's supposed to be, worldwide distribution. I mean, you're gonna be seeing me more on Amazon, more on Facebook and other social media platforms. I mean, they are going to cover the basis. I haven't met my publicist yet, but hopefully she can, or he or she. I don't know. Like I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to presume this is going to be a she because it could be a he.
Yeah.
But whoever my publicist is, I'm hoping they're going to get me enough buzz to where I end up on shows like GMA, Good Morning America, The Today Show. I'm supposed to be getting lined up for like different radio interviews and things like that of that nature. So you're beating everybody to the punch, buddy.
Yeah, cool.
So,
so you're gonna really hit it off. Yeah, so
and then I can say the first person to interview me, go check him out on YouTube, is singer Jay White.
yeah, then I'll get more reviews or get more views anyway.
Like I said, like I've told you in personal messages, I almost feel like I'm an exclusive member to this channel.
Yeah, because you're the one who comments on it, and the one you're a few people are reading, but are not reading. They're watching. I don't know why I said reading, but they're watching, but they never comment.
I mean, that's how you show support. I mean, you go, even if it's just saying hi, great video, love the comments, very insightful, but me, I try to go one step further and try to make it, to say, hey, I did watch the video. This is the points that, I've answered, given my own responses to like, the different points on like whether it be writing or something personal or something that lets you know, hey, I'm actually watching these videos, so that way you don't feel discouraged, like, hey, no one's watching. Yeah, people are watching. It's just I'm taking the time to let you know, hey, this is what I've watched. This is how this is my response to this topic or this situation.
Yeah, you can see as well how many people not just how many people watched it, but what the average viewing time is and stuff like that. And that can really get you down at times because you like, for example, Rachel did the interview for 20 minutes and then 20 people watched it and it came back as average viewing time 4 minutes.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, but that could have been like 19 people watching the whole thing and one person just clicking it off.
Yeah.
So you never know.
But I mean, and to anybody who watches this one, I mean, try to be engaged. I mean, even if it's just, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like, or great. I mean, just something that's a great video, or good video, or boring video, or something. I mean, even if it's just what's up.
This one's going to take some time, probably take some time to edit as well.
Yeah.
Because we're going on for the like 2 hours and 20 minutes now, and I don't think my computer's got much space left on it, to be fair.
Yeah, let's go ahead and end this, and then you can get back to editing the rest of Rachel's, and then just let me know when this loads up, and like with everything else, let me know, and I will show every link that you put out there, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the last thing then, I think, unless we've got anything else to do, is oh yeah, there was one other thing. It was when we were talking about interviews. I have got one other person who wants to interview me. All right, have you heard of CJ Rutherford?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, he wants to interview me, but it has to be on one condition, right? And you wouldn't be able to do this because you don't drink anymore.
That's true.
He wants me to get completely blind drunk before the interview.
I mean, you never know what happens. It's an experience. It's how you learn.
Yeah. He said the whole condition of the interview is that I have to be absolutely off my face. So yeah.
That's going to be. I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, hopefully. So the last thing is to wave goodbye to the audience. So yeah, yeah. This is the whole thing again. There's this whole thing with the two fingers. It means some totally different thing in the UK to what it means in America. Did you see that on Rachel's video?
No, I haven't gotten to that one yet.
I don't know if I've actually got to that point of editing it yet. See, in the UK, right, this is the peace sign like this. Right.
Yep.
If you turn your fingers around the other way, it means go fuck yourself.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, you'll edit that part out.
Okay.
Bye, people.
Yeah. So yeah, but what it actually means, where it actually came from is the archers in like
the
when
longbow
the Normans
archers
were
from
attacking
back
us.
archery was the main weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, so archery was the main weapon. So what they used to do is if they caught the archers, they'd cut their fingers off.
Yeah.
Right, so they cut these two fingers off, so they couldn't fire their bows and arrows anymore. Where it actually comes from is the archers used to stand there and go like this to them, say, "I've still got my fingers."
I remember that
But
history class.
1,000 years later, it's telling someone to go fuck themselves.
I did not mean that to anybody.
Yeah, so it's like the equivalent of the one finger. So,
the American driving finger.
Yeah,
because we probably use it the most.
Yeah. Or you get the double one where you get two fingers on one hand and one finger on the other hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we used to do when we were in the Scouts, or I was in the Scouts, it's Scouts do not swear.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I should probably cut that out of the video. Yeah.
All right, my friend. I'll let you go.
We're on 2 hours and 23 minutes at the moment. So yeah. I think the red line is building up. It's telling me it's going to blow off in a minute.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Okay, all right. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.